wouldn't want to be in Roxana's shoes, and I don't want to be in Maya's shoes.
Yeah.
I do not.
Who knows how I would have behaved? Maya at least stopped for a few seconds. Maybe I wouldn't have even stopped for a few seconds. Maybe I would have stopped. Maybe I would have gotten out. Maybe I would have sought help. I don't know. You know that bit where she says कि अरे बहुत पैसे आ गए तेरे पास.
बहुत गुस्सा, बड़ी हो गई.
हाँ.
चाय मैंने खुद ने चाय बनाई है. Like
Yeah.
these small things.
And तो गुस्से में अच्छी दाल बना लेती है.
हाँ. All of it. And subconsciously, unknowingly, even I may have done it at some point of time.
I think Maya Menon's very different from any woman I've played before. And different in the sense that, she did come across as being morally ambiguous to me. And that's not something I'm used to as an actor or as a person. But I'm so glad I got a chance to explore that in Jalsa. And the fact that she's a journalist, someone who stands for the truth, someone who brings people the truth, her
Dilemma
truth is now under question, or is questionable. So that for me really, it up the stakes. So I think she could have been in any profession, but the fact that she was a journalist and the kind of journalist she is, I think makes it all the more potent.
If I said I took reference or I studied about it, I'd sound like a fool because our house help is a big part of our home and our family, and it's not something you study, you just know it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so to say that, I study science, I'll really sound like an idiot if I say that. Also, Roxana, yes, she comes from a different class. Also from a different caste, but I don't think the class matters here because of the positioning of both these women. And but she's a mother, and I'm a mom, and I would do exactly what Roxana did.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be fiercely protective.
Yeah.
I am fiercely protective about my kids.
Yeah.
Also, yes, I mean, there are qualities in Roxana. Also, when people say, do you take a reference from somebody, there is only this much that you can take from somebody, because finally you're creating another individual altogether on screen. Her traits, her qualities might not be in anyone that I've seen around.
Sure.
And vice versa.
Sure.
So this was Roxana. This was Suresh Trivedi's Roxana.
Okay. Sure.
And I had to be true to that. So the thing is that the scenes with Vidya and me, I have to give credit to Suresh Trivedi. The blueprint we had was very, very strong. And Suresh as a director is so insightful and so curious, and so he really goes into the depths of human emotion. Also, he is somebody who has a bank of instances that have been put back somewhere, which he uses in his story, in his writing. I have to give credit for that, particularly the scene between Vidya and me. So the scene by itself is a very, very strong scene. And of course, when you're working with somebody like Vidya, I mean, she only makes me richer as an actor.
That bit where she says कि अरे बहुत पैसे आ गए तेरे पास.
बहुत गुस्सा, बड़ी हो गई.
हाँ.
चाय मैंने खुद ने चाय बनाई है. Like
Yeah.
these small things.
And तो गुस्से में अच्छी दाल बना लेती है.
हाँ, all of it. So it's like that. That is what you are talking about.
Yeah.
And we've heard it so many times. And subconsciously, unknowingly, even I may have done it at some point of time. You know what I mean? I mean, I consider myself sensitive and I don't want to do it, but sometimes your problems just seem so much bigger than the other people's problems. And it's just as I'm being very human about it. But I think that scene kind of really pushes that point you're trying to make, and that is the scene that really pushes Roxana over the edge. Not so much Maya's scene. I mean, in Maya's scene, scene, in fact, and they correct me if I'm wrong, whatever's happening around her, if there's one person who's more pushed off balance in that scene is Maya. I am reacting to what she's doing because of what has happened. But over here, Ruxana takes responsibility of what she decides to do because of what she's just heard.
I think, finally it's about power, right?
Yeah.
Because employer-employee, this happens to be in a home situation. But I think even in the workplace, to a different degree maybe, but there is this there is a sense of entitlement that the employer has. There is a certain expectation, and imagine when there is this expectation that, like Shefali just said, like the employer's problems are bigger than the employee's problems. It's always because that's how power plays out, right? And here it is, I think both of them, what I enjoy about that particular scene between Shefali and me is they're both hiding something. They're both trying to cover it up. And they're both, of course, Maya is in that scene seething because Rohini is not picking up her call. And then this boy drops something, and Ruxana has this irritating ringtone. She firstly doesn't want to be facing Ruxana, which is why she's looking for excuses and saying she's gone to the hospital. Why should she be coming here? Because that's a reminder of what has happened. She's trying to move forward because no one's figured out till now, right? There have been no articles about this accident, nothing, and she feels like maybe she'll get through. But every time there's a reminder that, if there's a mention of Ruxana or Ruxana lands up, it shakes her up. And it is this thing that, why the hell will you not disappear and not, because I don't want to feel like this about myself. I don't want to see you being so close to my child. I hate it. It's also every working mother's complex with the nanny or the maid at home, with the house help, because they feel like she almost gets more time with the child. I have seen that play out in people's lives around me. Those things, it's so subtle. He's captured so many things beautifully in that scene. Like Maya goes to pick up the glass pieces and Ruxana says, "Wo kapda nahi." And she just snatches it, and that's when she decides to flip it and say, "Why are you screaming at him? You left the gas on, na?" Because actually what she's irritated about कि मेरे घर में आके मुझे सिखाओगी कि कपड़ा कौन सा यूज करूं मैं, मेरे बच्चे के साथ तुम
the sense of entitlement. How can you have a sense of entitlement in my house?
In my house,
over my child, in my house, and all of it.
I really feel it's employer-employee. It's not about class, This could be playing out in any work situation. And when you feel that the employee, for example, is taking some liberties or taking it for granted because there is this camaraderie or this rapport or this comfort, then you will snap back. It happens in work situations, na? Shefali, it happens with us also at work, right?
It's like, because I'm being nice, don't overstep and become my best friend.
So I'm not sure it's a class thing at all.
Also, your relationship with the staff varies from person to person. There are certain relationships which have been carried over years. You know that relationship, you know the importance of that person and relationship, you value it. But there is somebody who may not evoke the same kind of connection with you. So it also varies from person to person who is, working with you or working for you. I wouldn't want to be in Ruxana's shoes, and I don't want to be in Maya's shoes. I do not. I'm being very honest, and I said that all throughout. It's like, it's ridiculous. But I used to go there every day. I used to see Kashish, who plays my daughter with these prosthetics, and it was just terribly disturbing. And somewhere in the back of my head, there was something that kept saying, it was a very conscious thing, that it's never going to happen to me. It's never going to happen to my children. So it's something that I don't want to think of. But putting myself in Maya's shoes, I don't know whether what I would have done.
Yeah.
Would I have had the balls enough to take over that situation and stop and take responsibility, or would I run away? I don't know. I myself don't know, because I'm not in her shoes.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for anyone to sit outside and say, what would you do? You don't know what you would do until you are there.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel that I did think of what would I do. And initially, I thought, no, but I would never do this. I would never drive away. But post-pandemic, I began to feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I began to feel like, who knows how I would have behaved. Maya at least stopped for a few seconds. Maybe I wouldn't have even stopped for a few seconds. Maybe I would have stopped. Maybe I would have gotten out. Maybe I would have sought help. I don't know. That's I think, for me, that is what humanizes Maya. The fact that she seems like this independent, successful, sharp, intelligent woman who, does the right thing, seems to do the right thing always. But that fear, when it grips you, you just don't know. जब अपने पे आती है ना, तो बात अलग ही हो जाती है.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.